Hi, my name is Jamahl Kersey, and I'm a criminal defense attorney in San Diego, California. And in this video, I'm reacting to a homicide case from First 48. Before we dive in, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you leave me a comment below on your reaction to my reaction, because this is my first one. And if you're really feeling it, then make sure you share it with a friend. Let's get into it.
What's the emergency?
There's a young man shot. We in the church. He just came running in. This young man is dying on the church floor.
Okay, we've got help on the way, ma'am.
Bring away. Lord God, please. Oh, Lord Jesus.
So the episode opens with a 911 call reporting someone having been shot. It sounds like he's in dire need for some medical attention. And so as part of the evidence in one of these cases, the DA will provide the recordings of the 911 call, and that's what we're listening to here.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
So where did all happen? Over there.
Mm-hmm.
We were just getting ready to start Bible study.
So here we see the detectives who have responded to the call, and here they're shooting video going through the scene where apparently the alleged victim had walked through, and we see bloodstains on the ground.
So multiple gunshot wounds, upper, central chest, and neck.
Yeah.
They worked on him for quite a while.
19-year-old Elijah Larkin recently learned he was going to be a father. He and his fiancée had been planning to move to a new neighborhood to make a fresh start. Elijah was shot at a bus stop just outside the church.
It'd be nice if this were all kind of bus video.
Yeah, Trans is working on it.
So whenever you have a violent crime ranging from assault to a homicide like we have here, there are two main things that detectives are looking for: eyewitnesses and surveillance video. So they'll go around asking people if they heard or saw anything strange. So in this situation, there would have been gunshots that people might have heard, so that they can get further information to assist with their investigation. So oftentimes detectives will go to local businesses to see if their surveillance cameras caught anything.
Sergeants Ann Jose and Jim Jensen interview one of Elijah's friends who was near the church during the shooting.
So, just tell us what happened tonight.
I seen Elijah get off the bus.
The witness says that moments later, a man at the bus stop attacked him.
They were fist fighting. And then the boy pulled his gun out and shot him.
The boy that started fighting with him. What's his name?
His name is John Trill.
So this was a fight that ultimately led to a shooting. And in this situation, through this interview, the detectives are able to get the name of the shooter from the victim's friend. And without the victim's friend coming through, they might not have any information at all on the shooter.
How well do you know this guy?
I've seen him 3 times with his gang.
So now they have reason to believe that the shooter was a gang member. And that's something they'll have in mind as they continue on with their investigation.
Is Elijah in a gang?
Yes.
And now they know their alleged victim is a gang member as well. So again, this shapes the investigation, because now we have a homicide that resulted between 2 gang members.
Okay. We got a name, that's all, I like having a name at first.
John Trell Bolden is 20 years old.
What we're going to do is we're going to show you a photograph.
That's John Trill.
That's John Trell.
That's John Trill.
And you're certain of that?
That's him. That's him.
So here they're having the witness ID the person so that they know they have the right guy.
Really good witness, very detailed. What isn't clear is exactly why that confrontation went down.
So finding a motive is a key portion of a criminal investigation. They know they're dealing with two gang members, but they don't know at this point how the confrontation started or why.
A few hours in,
Hello?
Jose gets a break.
Okay. It's two different buses. Oh my God, that's perfect.
The transit police have footage of Elijah and John Trell getting off two different buses.
Yay! I caught it all.
So getting the video footage of both of them getting off the buses will put the victim and the shooter at the scene.
So that's the suspect bus.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, he gets off and he kind of hangs out by the corner.
Now we have to see the other one.
They pull up video from the victim's bus.
That's the victim right there.
So really it looks like the detectives hit the jackpot as far as video footage goes. There are many instances in which a violent crime occurs and there are no available witnesses and no video footage.
So they're pulling up.
Now your suspect, he's right here.
Elijah and his friend approach the suspect, John Trell.
Wow, so this happens pretty fast, but it looks like the two guys, Elijah and his friend, get off the bus, and then they walk up on John Trell and attack him. Then John Trell's running away, firing backwards, and then hits Elijah.
John Cho, he's almost trying to run away and he goes backwards to shoot at the victim?
Yeah.
Self-defense.
This is all self-defense.
So the detectives have in their mind that this is a self-defense case based on the fact that John Trell was actually attacked first and shot back in response.
His best bet would have been just to come into us and said, dudes attacked me, I self-defense shot him.
He has a story to tell.
Police department!
The violent criminal apprehension team hits the streets,
We're looking for John Trell.
hoping to track John Trell down and convince him to talk.
If you see John Trell, can you give me a call? You don't know where he is?
You don't live here.
With John Trell nowhere to be found, Jose brings in one of his friends to help.
So not having been able to find John Trell, they go after one of his friends to try and perhaps communicate a message.
Somehow you're able to get a hold of John Trell. I'll take the call anytime.
He's scared as hell.
Well, naturally, John Trell's afraid. He shot at someone. He may have heard at this point that the kid died, so he knows it's pretty serious.
Okay, him running makes his story less and less believable.
So in California, there's actually a jury instruction on flight. This case is out of Minnesota. I imagine there's something similar. And so whether it's immediately after the incident or after the person gets accused, the jury instruction says that that particular conduct in terms of fleeing may show that the accused was aware of his guilt and so ran away because he knew he was guilty. So that's where she's going as far as like him not turning himself in makes him look more guilty.
Jose explains John Trell may have a self-defense case, but he must come forward soon.
Okay, he is going to be charged tomorrow with murder. With murder.
So the detective has just told John Trell's friend that, hey, we're planning on charging him with murder. And so murder is an act causing death with the intent to kill. And so the distinction between first and second degree murder is whether it was premeditated. In this situation, he probably wouldn't be charged with first degree murder because this was a situation that came out of the blue. It didn't look like John Trell planned this out at all.
Unless he calls us tonight and explains what's going on.
Okay.
The next day, there is still no word from John Trell. Sergeant Jose issues a warrant for second-degree murder.
If he continues to hide like this, it just keeps making him look more and more guilty. John Terrell Bolden has been booked into Hennepin County Jail.
Well, it looks like they found John Terrell.
Now I can go interview him about why he ended up shooting Elijah.
So the detective wants to go and talk to John Terrell and see if she can build her case.
So I'm here about your arrest.
Yeah, so my advice to anyone in this situation would be to say, I'm exercising my right to remain silent and I want to speak to a lawyer. The interrogation ends at that point.
What type of degree am I facing?
Right now it's second degree. It means you intentionally killed somebody. If there was a reason why you did that, that could help you.
Okay, so say if you mind your business and some girls run up on you, you know? What if you shot the girls?
If I felt like my life was in great danger, I can use deadly force.
So John Terrell throws out a little hypothetical about what may have happened in his situation. And so the detective responds by explaining to him a bit about self-defense. And so if a person reasonably believes that they're in imminent danger of being killed or suffering great bodily injury, and they believe that the immediate use of deadly force is necessary to defend against that danger, and then they use no more force than necessary to defend against that danger, then if that's believed by a jury, then that's going to be an outright defense to a homicide charge. And so when a jury is deciding whether that person's belief was reasonable, then they're supposed to take into consideration all of the circumstances and then ultimately consider what a reasonable person in a similar situation with similar knowledge would have believed. So that's the law straight out from the instructions that the jury would receive. And so this is where knowing that this was two gang members really comes into play, because John Terrell was just standing on the corner when all of a sudden Elijah and his friends come and attack him, just an unprovoked attacking. And so the other guy might have had a gun or a knife on him, or John Terrell might have believed that one of them was armed. And so oftentimes gang members are armed. So there's a lot to possibly work with in terms of John Terrell's subjective beliefs. Elijah may have threatened John Terrell in the past. There's a lot of information that would have been in John Terrell's head that could potentially add to his justification of using deadly force. This is what we would be exploring in our interview on the case.
I want to talk so bad right now, man. But I sound like an attorney, not no offense to you.
Okay. 9 times out of 10, you want an attorney.
10 times out of
There's
10.
that one time when you were truly in fear of your life. It might be to your benefit to tell us why you shot him. He's not talking to me right now, so we don't know why.
Wow, so he ultimately pled guilty to manslaughter and got 10 years. When I'm in negotiations with a DA in a case like this, my goal is to convince them that if this case were to go in front of a jury, my client's going to testify that he was attacked first. He feared for his life and his belief was reasonable given the circumstances. And that's a reasonable position. In this case here, we saw the video. And if you go to trial on a murder case and you testified that you acted in self-defense and the jury believes you and finds your beliefs reasonable, then that's a justified homicide. And so in terms of the law on self-defense, again, the accused subjective belief has to be reasonable. So as to believing that they were in imminent danger of being killed or suffering great bodily injury, I think John Terrell's belief would have been reasonable. The second part is that the accused believed the immediate use of deadly force was necessary to defend against the danger. And so this is the element that really could go either way. A jury could find that the deadly force was necessary, or they might think it was going too far, given that it looked like there was a punch or two that was swung. So in that situation, does that justify pulling out a gun and shooting somebody? That's the toss-up. And so if they believed he was in imminent danger, but his belief that deadly force was necessary was an unreasonable belief, then this is what we would call imperfect self-defense, and that would be considered voluntary manslaughter. So at the end of the day, this is a case where I'm seeking to have my client ideally plead to some sort of illegal possession of a weapons charge or otherwise take the case to trial because he's clearly acting in self-defense. And from the video, it looks like something that you could reasonably put in front of a jury. This is not just throwing out some random theory and hoping it sticks. There's some reason to the theory of self-defense in this particular case, but it's always a difficult decision for the person who would actually have to face the time, because if it's a second-degree murder charge, this is probably a 15-year to life case, and so that makes it really difficult. So that's the end of my first reaction video to a First 48 episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave me a comment on other videos you'd like to see me react to. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.